back, everybody. Welcome to your Circle of Influence podcast. I'm your co-host, Dr. Monica Ogando.
And I'm Amy Walker, and the year is done. We're going into the new one. So today we thought this would be a great time to talk about where we're going next, what our goals are, what we're focusing on, what's the creation process, and just kind of share what's in our hearts and what's in our minds as we go into the new year, and invite you to do the same. There's something to me that's always been really motivating about listening to big thinkers and big dreamers. And not that we're the biggest thinkers or biggest dreamers on the planet, but it has always inspired me to hear where other people are going, because it makes me reflect and be like, oh, well, maybe I could go big places too. So it's like a band. Your brain and your desires are a rubber band, and the more you stretch it, the more you realize it has capacity to be a lot better than what you can see today. So Monica, what is on the horizon for you? What are you excited about?
There's some personal goals that I want to take on. And I fully acknowledge my privilege in being an empty nester, right? That you still have boys at home. I have no children left at home.
Can that be one of my New Year's goals, to have less boys at home?
Yes, that can definitely be the New Year goals. So my children are grown, and so it gives me a little bit more bandwidth to focus on personal goals. One of my personal goals is I want 2024 to be the year where I am finally confidently proficient in my Egyptian Arabic. As you know, I take people to Egypt on a Sacred Mystery School tour in September every year. And I feel hemmed up that I need to rely on the tour guide to have certain conversations and for him to translate, et cetera, et cetera. It harkens me back to when I came to this country and I was the translator for my parents between guidance counselors or dentists or doctors or whatever, right? Between a particular set of authority figures and my parents, and I was the go-between. And I want to be able to carry the conversation in the same way that I did when I was, a wee child. So that's one of my personal goals is I remember just started taking Egyptian Arabic classes and working on my pronunciation and working on my vocabulary. So that's one. Another one is, for the better part of maybe like 18 months or so, I have been on this fitness journey. And I have completely re-identified myself. I've said this in earlier episodes where I talked about like moving from thinking of myself as a middle-aged woman wanting to lose some weight to actually being an athlete, right? And so you mentioned something about being a competitive person, right? And I love the idea of winning a 5K or a 10K race. I want to do that in 2024. I don't want to just participate. I want to take the trophy.
Nice.
And then the next one for me is I am really interested in what I get to be or what I get to do to be the kind of global citizen that I want to be. There's some community involvement that I want to be, in my city. We both live in Atlanta, Georgia. But then just standing and going out in terms of like the state, the country itself, and just as a global citizen, what's the impact that I can make and how can I contribute? And some of that maybe, to date, it has been financial contributions and donations and so forth, but I want to be more active in it and give my time and my energy and attention. I participate as a board director in certain nonprofit organizations, but I want to be a little bit more in the field and more involved. And I'm looking to explore what that looks like in 2024. And that's a more direct project for me.
I love all of that. It makes me think that I want to pick back up my Russian, but in reality, that is not a high priority for me this year.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, I pull out Duolingo, and I start practicing my Russian. So, okay, so this past year was a really mind-expanding year for me in terms of what is possible in business and learning some new strategies. I want to buy a company or two this year. One that I'm looking to buy actually as a roll in to Amy Walker Consulting, because it's part of our growth strategy is that you can grow through building, but you can also grow through acquisition. Yeah. And so I want to do growth through acquisition this year. But I also want to go to just another industry that is not necessarily in my wheelhouse. I want to bring together companies to then multiply and resell for just profit, and build in place the systems and the processes and take my skill set into an industry that I think could use some consolidation. And there's a lot of in the home services industry, there's a lot of business owners who are at retirement age and they have not built a business that is really sellable. So they're going to look at retirement and closing. And I want to be able to like give those guys some retirement. They've worked hard for a long time, but then bring the systems, the marketing, the processes to then be able to resell it to the mid-market where there's a lot of investors looking to buy, you know, $10 million companies, which you could do by putting together a lot of little ones. So that's a plan that I have this year, is to move into that space. I have been wanting a lake house for a long time. Like, it's my favorite place to go. Exercise when I am at the lake is not hard. It is purely enjoyable. I love kayaking. I love paddleboarding. It's really easy for me to like, you know, go out for an hour and a half every single day. And it's just great. So, my family's not ready to move to the lake, but I want to have the lake house so that we're spending more time there. And also, you know, we can use it for retreats and for business workshops and power days and, Airbnb when we're not there and all that good stuff. So I know I was joking about, can my goal be to have less kids at home, but all 5 are at home right now, and 2 of them are, you know, graduated. And my oldest son came home from his mission in August, and he spent 2 years on his mission and just loved it. And so this last few months, he's just been kind of like figuring out what comes next. And I want to continue to support him in that journey. And then my other one, his plans didn't work out. Plan A didn't work out. And so now he's kind of trying to figure out plan B. And also my boys graduate when they're really young. They're 17 when they graduate. Then they have their birthdays during the summer. So they need a little bit more cooking at home time. Which is weird for me because I was like, I am graduated, I am gone. I was so ready to go to the world. You know, I was like, let's do this. So one of my intentions and goals this year is to actually be at peace with their progress, because their progress is right for them, instead of trying to hurry it along, or instead of trying to insert my will into it. Because I'm like, well, you know, it'd be a really good plan for your life is if you did this. It's like, that is not the way that the journey works. So that is my goal, is to be at peace with their progress, because they are making progress and they are making good choices, and they're making them based on like a lot of wisdom, but it's not as fast as I would do it, because I jump into things head, you know, like, let's just go.
You're a fast start.
I'm a fast start, and they are processors. So they're like, let me figure out all the details and then I will make my move. So just enjoying the time, because, you know, once they're gone, they're not coming back. So it's like, just enjoy it. Another one is, I want to be more fun. So I know that's not quantifiable, but like this year, anytime someone misses the bus, I have started that their punishment is that I rap I Miss the Bus by Crisscross to them, and do the Running Man. And so that's their punishment when they miss the bus. And like, I am a weird, quirky gal, and I get so in my head sometimes that it's like my fun self goes away. And I want to be more playful. I want to bring out my weird and just have more fun in all the things that I do, and not compartmentalize so much, where it's like, now it's work time, it's smart time, it's be productive time, and now it's time. Like, I want to bring the play.
Bring it all. Yes. You know, as someone who has a unique and direct access to your goofy self, I am so happy to hear this. The world deserves Goofy Amy.
Goofy Amy is the best, Amy. I know, it's always like, well, even just recording the show, it's like in between, I say all the funny things, and then we start recording, and it's like, now let's talk about ideas. So yes. So I want to I don't know exactly what's the source of the disconnect, right? Like I'm sure there's something energetically, but I want to merge those two pieces of me because I like being fun, goofy, weird Amy.
Yes.
Um, my children do not always appreciate it,
That's
but
okay.
I will tell you this, the house is happier and more fun when I'm being a big fat weirdo than when I'm being intense, serious
Right.
Amy. So
Yes. Oh,
they
yes.
can complain, but secretly, deep down,
They
they
love it.
love it.
And they'll remember it with fondness
Yes.
when they're on their own. Yes.
Yeah. And it makes me so much less grumpy when I have to drive them to school because they miss the bus. So,
Mhm.
um, okay, health is next. So, what I've been doing this year for health, I want to continue doing, which is I'm actually exercising and eating for my hormone type. And so, my hormone type is high in cortisol and low in progesterone. Now I can't remember. I probably said that wrong. But anyway, my hormone type, like the more that I push, the more that my body's gonna be like, yeah, put on more cortisol, which then creates belly fat. And I've learned that this year. So my exercise is not like push as hard as I can, but it's about find the right balance. And same with food. It's not like let's calorie restrict. It's like let's eat the foods that I need according to the time of the month and what's going on in my hormones and my cycle, so that it's all about basically giving me what I need. And it's slow, steady progress,
Mhm.
like it's not as fast as I want. But as we mentioned a month ago or so, like in my head, I'm already super hot, so it's okay. I'll just live there. um,
Yes.
and well, oh, publishing is another thing. So I did publish 2 books this year.
Woohoo!
Yeah, but it was in January and February. So I haven't published anything in quite some time. And I have 2 books that are mostly done.
Mhm.
One that needs formatting, one that needs editing, and another that needs some revisions, and one that's halfway done. And so I put that all on pause as we were doing business restructure and all the things that we had going on. And I want to create space for that this year because I truly love the writing process. I truly love the publishing process. I love the people. I love book people. Like book nerds are some of the most compassionate, kind, nice people because we've lived 1,000 experiences that we couldn't have on our own, right? And so
Oh, that's
it
true.
builds this sense of like empathy and connection. And I love the community
Yeah.
around publishing and especially self-publishing. There's just so many amazing people and the connection that's happening right now between readers and writers. And it just it's a happy place for me. So I definitely want more publishing this year. Um, and spiritually as well, I feel like I've gone through in the last couple of years the teenage years of my relationship with God. And
Mm.
for those of you who have been through that, you know what that feels like, where it's like you start to, and I'm not a teenager. I mean, I know I look young, but
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
not a teenager. But I've gone through that process of like, okay, do I really agree with this? Do I really align with this? Do I really believe this? Like what do I really believe to be true? And what are things that are cultural, not
Yeah.
spiritual?
Yeah.
Like, and so I've been going through this sorting process, and I just want that like yummy synergy feeling of adulthood where you come together and you're like, now I understand. I don't know if you had that moment with your parents where like, now I understand you.
Yeah.
And now I
Totally.
appreciate you. And now I know you in a really different way. I want to enter that season.
Super.
Um, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's my spiritual intention this year.
Wow, that's
Um,
awesome.
and as far as community involvement, I'm happy with where that's at. But I do have one specific goal that I have not yet accomplished, that I would love to accomplish this year, which is I've been laying groundwork in my community for a couple of things. I volunteer with an organization called Just Serve,
Mhm.
and we partner nonprofits with volunteers, and we try to get the community out doing more volunteer work and giving time, and just being more involved, like solving their local issues. And so we've been laying the groundwork to expand into 2 new counties, and I would love to see that happen this year.
Mhm.
The other thing is I've been planting a lot of seeds for an interfaith council in my area, where there's, so many great things in each different religion, in each different faith, but because of differences in doctrine, there's not enough collaboration, at least where I live. And it's like, this church has this great resource and program. This church has this great resource and program. Why are we not talking together and collaborating and working together to solve issues in the community?
Right.
So that's another thing, is I really want to see the interfaith council come together, where we can tackle some issues in our community, like homelessness. It's a big issue where we live. There's a housing shortage and a housing crisis, and we have more and more homelessness. There's tent cities that are popping up, and I mean, I don't live in the metropolis part of Atlanta. I am out in the country. And so when homelessness pops up, there is no shelter.
Mm.
Um, there are no resources. And so that's a problem that I feel like if we could bring the right people together in a spirit of collaboration, we could come up with some programs, because we have great resources in our community, but they're not, there's gaps that I feel like we could fill. So that's something that I've been trying to lay foundation for about 3 years. I had the first meeting about it 3 years ago, and I'm like praying that this is the year where it comes together and we can actually make some progress.
Yeah. I love that so much. I'm inspired to hear you saying that. In my mind, in terms of business, I know that there's places where I want to go in terms of investments and in terms of real estate portfolio, etc. But I love hearing, and this is why we do this episode every year, because it inspires you when you hear somebody else's goals and what they're up to. Like, yeah, 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 let's do that, and definitely getting behind somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things I think, when I was earlier in business, I was afraid to tell people my big crazy goals,
Mm-hmm.
because the people in my world thought that they were protecting me by telling me that they were
Mm-hmm.
undoable and helping me to manage my expectations,
Yeah.
right? And you
Mhm.
probably all still have people in your life like that, where you tell them, I want to buy 10 different companies in the next 3 years, and then I want to sell them for 10 times what I paid for them. And
Mhm.
you'll have people who have never done that before that are like, well, that sounds really risky. Have you thought about this? That's going to be so much debt to go into. And they'll tell you all the reasons to try to help, like, tamper it down, because they think that safety is staying in the known, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So if you don't have those people that you can tell them something big, bold, and crazy, and they'll be like, "Oh, you've never done that before? That's awesome. I think you can figure it out." Like, I believe that can happen for you, or I have resources for you. Then you got to expand your circle of influence, because you need those people that you can tell the bold, the audacious, the crazy, the how in the world am I going to do that? And they will not bat an eye, but they
Yeah.
will fully support and give their encouragement and believe that you can do it. You need those people.
Yeah.
Um,
Totally.
so that's why we
Yeah.
got your circle of influence here, and you
Exactly right.
cultivate, bring the people in that you need to support you.
Yeah. 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 Totally. We would love to hear your New Year's dreams and goals, and so that we can support you and get inspired by you as well with everything that you've got going on. And it also articulating them and sharing them gives you permission, right? Because a lot of times we actually achieve more when we create public accountability for our goals.
Yes.
So we would love to hear your goals and your objectives and dreams for this new year. Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for joining us for another year of your circle of influence. We hope that we have been able to influence you to dream bigger and achieve more. And as always, leave us your comments below. Reach out to us on our website or on social media. Amy is at Amy Walker Coach on Instagram, and I am at Monica Ogando. Thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your year. See you in 2024.
Happy New Year's, everyone.